Hello again to everybody who has joined. And I'm really happy to see you all here today. And we are actually having people joining us from 13 different countries. And that actually really feels really special. And what's beautiful is that we are all gathered here out of the same curiosity about the connection between people and horses, and also about the Academy for Coaching with Horses and the work of Kathy Pike. So, our conversation will last approximately 1 hour. If there will be any impulses to go further with some questions or something, like we haven't planned them, but still, if something arises, then maybe a little bit goes over. But who needs to leave earlier, no worries, because you will have the replay. And actually, before we now begin, I would love to invite you all to co-create this space together. A little bit like we would if we were standing among the horses. Horses are always so present and so grounded, and they are always aware about the energy we are bringing in. So maybe we just a really brief moment we take to arrive, to feel your feet on the ground, and to let your shoulders soften, and notice your breath. Because when we listen with our whole body, not just only with our mind, the words and the energy land in a very different way. So let's bring that kind of presence here for ourselves, for each other, and for what we are here to experience together. And our talk today will touch on several themes: the importance of the horse in this work, the role of presence, embodiment, authenticity, and how these qualities show up in both humans and horses. And for those of you who don't know me yet, my name is Helle Aluste, and I have worked as a psychologist and riding therapist for the last 18 years. And in the last 4 years, I've been deeply immersed in the world of coaching with horses, thanks to Kathy. And my first connection with Kathy happened actually 10 years ago when I got her book, Hope. And when I read that book, it really landed deeply and gave a deep impression. And when later I saw the invitation for her training, I didn't hesitate at all. And by now I've completed the full training of the Academy. So again, about Kathy, she's a founder of Academy of Coaching with Horses and truly a pioneer in this field. And she will soon speak about her path more closely. And she's not only an inspiring coach and teacher, but also an artist and internationally published author. She has written 4 books. I read them all. And these books really open the depth of this work with horses, combining practical wisdom with really powerful personal stories. And she has also created 2 card decks that many of us really love, since they include really strong coaching questions together with a beautifully channeled text with insights. So my clients have benefited a lot from that. People all around the world, helping them more deeply with themselves through the wisdom of horses. So with a great joy and with a great gratitude, I welcome Kathy here with us today. So.
Great. Thank you, Hella. Oh, there you go. My phone's going off. Let me turn it off, actually. Thank you so much. And thank you for setting such a wonderful energy for our call today. Before I talk a little bit about Hella, if you all have not seen this one card deck that she was speaking of, there's 2 card decks and 4 books, but this is the one you want to get. Just want to hold it up so you can see it if you don't have it yet. People are totally in love with that deck. So I just want to give you a visual for it. The artist is not me, unfortunately. It's Lori Prindle, and she did beautiful artwork for both decks. So so Hella's been working with me now. What has it been, 4 or 5 years, Hella? 4?
Or I checked, but it feels much longer.
Yeah. Yeah, we've had quite a journey together, and this kind of all happened very creatively. And many of you already know we're introducing a new hybrid program. And then from that, it was like, well, let's do a call. And oh, that will be so much fun. And we can talk about the work and all of this. So Hella is one of my primary leaders, along with Johanna Gentlebread, who you'll meet at the end of the call. And the two of them are actually been with me for 4 years. They're both very, very dedicated to their journey with horses. They both have created very unique settings where they're located. Hella has a really unique situation that I think some of you already know about, in that she has many trees. She has an amazing group of horses. When we talk with them on my inner field meditation call, we also do some channeling and horse communications. And we talk with Hella's herd, and they are amazing. I wish I could get over there. And I know from the years of helping Hella with her sessions and seeing how she's grown and seeing how her horses have stepped in, that she's providing really amazing work. And this is a very special body of work. And I can't think of anybody better to help you if you're interested in exploring it and you're in Europe than to partner with Hella. She's really fabulous. So she has probably the most flowing energy I've experienced in a person. She's very present in the moment, and she's very thoughtful and very intelligent and very tuned in with the horses. And those are some of the characteristics that really make a great facilitator. So thank you, Hella, for having this idea. And I'm excited to have a conversation with you today. We have a load of questions, but we'll see where we go with it. And I'm going to trust you and your intuition that if you need to jump around, then that's just perfectly fine. We're hoping that from today's call, you can get a good sense of the work, why we're having the call, what we want for you with horses, what we want for the horses, and what they're really wanting for us. So yeah, that feels good. And then Hella, one thing though, I want to make sure everybody has your email address. I'm not sure if you said that out loud or if you're going to put it in an email or
Yes, they all got the link to come here via my email,
okay.
so they
Okay,
have it.
perfect. Perfect. And I think you all know about me, but if you don't, it's www.coachingwithhorses.com. Okay, great. Let's dive into some conversation.
Perfect. So let's start with your personal story, since it's such a powerful doorway into this work, as far as I know. And maybe I was wondering, could you share how you first found yourself on this path with horses?
Yeah. And for those of you who have read Hope from the Heart of Horses, I go into some decent depth on this because it was a significant event for me. But essentially, when I was in my 20s, I was always enamored with horses, always. And in my 20s, I took riding lessons. Long story short, I ended up getting bucked off the first time I was to go into a canter. The horse had been on vacation eating a lot of alfalfa and had, I think, a bit of a happy buck. And I got bucked off and dragged actually. And it was, just across kind of a rocky arena, but it was, wasn't really an arena, it was a side of a hill. Anyways, that was my introduction to horses. And so after that, I kind of left for a long time. And then I moved to the Oregon coast at one point in my life. And the day after 9/11, when one side of the country was in such trauma and turmoil, I found myself sitting on the beach of Oregon. The water was just so gentle and sparkly, and the sky so blue, and it was such an amazing day. And I was processing what was happening. And anyway, this woman rides down the beach bareback, on a horse, ponying another horse. And I could feel the hooves hitting the sand, and my whole body just really responded to this feeling that because I was sitting with my butt right on the sand. And I was also just visually, it was just breathtaking to see her with all the ocean behind her. And so she went along, and I knew that the beach ended. So I knew she was coming back. And I decided that if she came back, that I was gonna get up and introduce myself. Well, actually, I didn't decide that till actually she came back and she went past me. Then I thought, oh, what am I thinking? I should have introduced myself. So I walked down the beach, and she had stopped because everybody wanted to, pet on her horses. And I introduced myself. And that was the beginning of me working with horses. I worked with a horse that she had named Hope, and I really wanted to bring that horse into my life, but it didn't work out. It was a very interesting time, but very powerful connection that I had with this very first horse that I reconnected to or with after the accident. And it was working with this horse in a round pen with a regular horsemanship man. And he was helping me to bring the horse up into a canter. And when I did, I remember so specifically that all of my presence and awareness, my energy left my body. I was just not really in my body anymore. And it was so powerful for me that I realized in my life up to that point, every time that I was faced with really big energy and authority, I would leave my body. And that was my first kind of awakening lesson with a horse. I mean, she and I had beautiful connection, beautiful intuitive exchanges, but that was kind of when the light bulb went off, and I said, wow, imagine if I brought my coaching clients to something like this. It would cut through hours of coaching because it's such a visceral experience. And I could make that connection really quickly and then figure out, well, what do I need to be thinking differently? What do I need to do with my body when I'm having this experience of a lot of power? How can I stay more present? And at that time, I already had the mind body method coach training program. So it just all fit together. It was like the key went into the lock that opened a door to a completely new world that I'm forever grateful for.
Mm. That sounds amazing and definitely has been such a journey. And knowing all that and listening you're speaking right now, your approach has grown into such a deep and structured body of work by today. What do you feel made that growth possible?
Um, I think my love for the horses for sure was the primary. Absolutely. My love for the work, my love for the experiences that I kept having with the horses. And as a person, my deep desire, need, and life purpose path to help others. I just saw this as being a way to have such powerful transformations for other people that I couldn't help but step into the work. And of course, I was an outdoors person, so the idea of working outside with horses, helping people as a coach, it just everything fit together. Excuse me. And then it just kind of kept rolling and rolling and rolling. It was kind of a very intense experience, actually, for many, many years. And it rolled into books, it rolled into a training program, it rolled into international teaching. I was one of the first people to go over to Europe and start offering programs. And I think my love for being with the horses, and I'm a very intuitive person, very tapped in, tuned in, that balanced with my ability to create structure, my ability to kind of outline things and say, well, here's sort of a flow that we work with, and my ability to communicate a process that's actually very non-linear, helped me to create a program that people could learn from. And it's definitely evolved through the years, but there's some things that have actually really stayed primarily or very much originally to the same, that was original. Sorry, I'm sounding redundant, but some of the work the structures have very much stayed the same. And how people are dancing in those structures is getting deeper and richer because more people are doing the work, and there's an evolution that's happening with people in this work with horses, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes
And
sense.
Hella, you are going to have to, I think, speak up a little bit.
Pick
Sorry
up.
to interrupt you.
Yes, I will. I will do that. So, we have reached to the question of academy. I would really love you to speak a little bit about the Academy for Coaching with Horses, since there are many different approaches today in the world of equine and facilitated therapy and learning and coaching, of course, that too. So there are many different ways, and people may get confused which one to choose or what's the difference between them. And from your perspective, what is the essence of the Academy of Coaching with Horses, and what makes it unique among all these others?
Yeah. So I think there's a spiritual essence within the Academy for Coaching with Horses, which is a bit of a dichotomy, really. The Academy for Coaching with Horses, it sounds like, a military academy or something, but really it's a very spiritual approach, and it's very body-centered approach. It is about embodiment. It is about being able to access information and intelligence within the human body as demonstrated by the horse. So the full program also offers leadership pieces, which has more to with what we do with horses, but it's always based in who are you in that doing? Who are you in this desire to create connection? Who are you in anything that you're engaged with horses? And it's the who are you, not in a mental realm, but on that feeling, emotional energy, sensation, which brings you into the spirituality of our existence. So I don't know how many other schools are doing that because I don't keep track because there's so many schools now. I know when I started, I think maybe there were 5 or 6 of us. Um, and I have this question often come up as far as, how do you choose? And what I always ask people that interview with me to come into the full year program is what drew you to want to fill out the application and speak to me? What is it about my website? And the people that end up working with me, they have a resonance with how I'm sharing the information, how I'm approaching the partnership with horses. And I think that's what everybody has to listen to when they're making a choice about who to study with. What is the resonance there? Because if you're in it for the information, then you're going to be attracted to one person versus if you're in it for a deeper spiritual experience, which I feel is really what you're offering. I mean, you have the structures, you have the information, but you're taking people into a more profound spiritual realization, into their path, into their authenticity. If that's what you're looking for, then you're going to resonate with how people articulate that in their website or in a conversation like this or in their books, whatever it might be. So I encourage everybody to make choice through how it feels in your body. And if you resonate with the energy that's being presented for that program, that workshop, or the school that you're looking at. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So it all
Which,
it all is so important, and especially in nowadays with this whole
well, and
chaos around
we're
us.
talking more about using your intuition than using information because we are in this age of information, and people think that information is going to evolve them. But really, what I've found is that information often distracts us because it keeps our mind engaged in the collection like a chickmunk, right? But when we follow our intuition and we feel the pull, we feel the heart opening, we feel the tears, whatever it is, or however your body signals you, that's the true calling. But when we're on Facebook and we're on social media platforms and we're collecting information, that's a whole other thing. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. In my experience, this training has been not only informative, but also or mainly transformative. So this is all about experience. It's not about only knowledge.
Yeah.
And,
That's what I want. That's
mhm.
what I want for people who are working with me or reading the books. It's like, it's not always about the why, it's about the visceral experience and what doors open when we get so present to that.
So, yeah, I would say that these days it almost feels like a special skill or maybe even an art form to stay present or to be able to be connected with your own emotions. And at the same time, so many of us are carrying the old conditioning and so many limiting beliefs, like the most famous, I would say, is like, I'm not enough. And that all pulls us away from our own inner truth.
Yeah.
So, what do you think? Why are presence and emotional awareness so important in today's world? And also maybe you can bring in some insights how horses help us move beyond these conditioned patterns and to reconnect with a deeper sense of inner peace.
Yeah, well, I think the one of the most profound or skillful ways that we can create connection with others is to understand their resonance and how they are in the world, whether it's a human being or it's a dog or a horse or a cat. And when we can understand where they're at and how they're processing, then it gives us an opportunity to also be able to step into that and have a different conversation than the conversation that's just based on me as a physical form and ego. So in the teachings that I'm offering and that you're offering, we're so focused on becoming more body centered, breathing into our bodies, which those are really basic. And I want to just kind of put in an excerpt here. Sorry, I'm having hard time articulating today. Um, we don't know how present or not present that we are until we reach greater depths of presence. So often we can think that we're a really present person. And I think that when we start to study with the horses this way, it's like more and more doors open to deeper and deeper levels of presence, which puts us into this higher state of being in that energetic field and losing the structure of our ego and feeling more connected in the oneness. And the way that horses do that for us, and I know so many of you already know, like, why horses, what's their design in their brain and what's their design in their fight, flight, and freeze mode. I'm not going to go deep into that today. Many of you already know it. But when we actually start to practice the way of the horse, and it changes how we're experiencing the world. And so in the program, what we're focusing on is not just the breath and kind of noticing the outer world, but it's a journey going inwards to notice the sensations that are within us as we are present with horses, as we're either doing something or we're just having a moment and experience in a more reflective way. We're going in and we're noticing without the need to change it. And I think this is probably a differentiation point or how the program differs from others in that many, many programs are about achieving something. And yes, the word coaching is about movement and achieving something. But what I've grown to discover is that the true achievement that you want to make, the most authentic insights about yourself and the ability for the soul to communicate through you, your spirit to communicate through you, it's based on how present you can get with yourself. And so to find that deeper connection, often there is a path through a lot of mucky muck stuff, which people tend to have a lot of resistance to. It's, old emotional patterns, programming from the family of origin, but all of that is residing in the body. All of it has a pattern, vibrational pattern in the body. And the way that we start to change that, and the horses facilitate this, is by us getting so present and in a non-resistant state that we're noticing all the way down to the cellular level. And the observation, the neutral observation of the sensory awareness allows us to be in a non-resistant state, which is then allows for the energy to change its pattern and for the healing to begin and for the deeper insights to come through. And the way that horses help to facilitate this is that their powerful presence. When we get that present with them, it is like presence, plugged in and amplified. And there's a conduit of healing that happens in the two bubbles of the horse and the human. And it can just be so profound for people. But it's a real art form for a facilitator to understand how to guide somebody through that process. And then it's a learning curve for the actual participant to learn how to do it and to have patience to do it, and to be able to be in the discomfort of the energy patterns that want to unwind, so that then the wonder and the joy and the higher vibrational feelings can easily come through, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense. And I have also experienced that, both being a client and both being a facilitator. And this work can be really profound in without any exaggeration. And I would say that based on that understanding, on realization, in this work, horses are seen very differently than in traditional horsemanship. How would you describe the role of horse here? And maybe also you can say a few words how this vision first come into your work.
You know, I'm going to try not to cry right now, actually. Um, I think for me, there was an instant remembering of who I am when I got with horses. Whew. And it's always been about them for me. And I remember in the early years how much of a unicorn I was wherever I went, because everybody else was doing and this is like 23 years ago. Everybody else was doing the traditional horsemanship. They would just look at me like I was a unicorn, like I was from another planet, because really I am. Um, I mean, I'm different. That's just all there is to it. And everybody on this call, you're all part of that. I'm gonna say that if you're here, we're different. We want different things, and we see horses in a different way. So there was an instant remembering for me. And when I came back to them after the accident, because I got to see them in a different light. And I did have to work through a lot of my own personal trauma that had happened with horses. So that was a big part of my journey with them. But the interesting thing is, I might be off the question, but it doesn't matter. The interesting thing is that I've returned back to the location that I was 23 years ago. And although there has been some evolution and there's more like therapeutic riding, there's more therapy with horses, there has been some evolution as I actually gave up my ranch and decided to go back to boarding horses. It's been a harsh, harsh journey of realizing that most of the horse world is really still quite different than those of us who are working at this level or at this desire for really honoring the wisdom that horses have for us and honoring the power of their presence and honoring the gift of their presence without them having to perform or do, or they're just livestock. There's a whole world out there that's still very much focused on that, but I don't want to, sound like a Debbie Downer, and that is all the more reason why we all need to continue to do the work that we are doing, because there's so many more people now than 23 years ago that are looking at these ways to be with horses, that are looking at how to honor them, and everybody's wherever they are at on that journey. And it's not to judge others. It is heartbreaking sometimes to see what horses go through, all animals go through. And so to be on this journey with horses in this way, I think we need to realize that we are helping to uplift consciousness. And even if it's one person at a time or one horse at a time, that is really what we're doing here. And it's so important that we acknowledge that and honor ourselves for the desire to do that and the contribution that we're making without it having to be huge. If it is huge, great. If it's a smaller, that's great too. It's, one drop in the water at a time, and it creates the ripple effect. So there's still a lot of work to be done for people to really understand the level of intelligence that horses have and the gift that they really are to us, all animals, and that they're all communicating with us at all times. And it's so easy to drop into more of a doing role or seeing the horse as an object. Yeah, I don't think I answered your question at all. If you want to re-ask it, you can.
You did it beautifully. But what do you think? Do you feel that every horse is able to step into this kind of work?
I think every horse is a teacher. Okay. So it's just like even every human relationship that we have, there's an element of being taught, there's an element of teaching. And if we can approach life with that philosophy of how is this person mirroring me? How is this person teaching me? And then we go even to the horses and we say, how is this horse mirroring me? How is this horse teaching me? What is this horse communicating with me? The horses are always communicating. And there's very seldom misbehavior unless their communications are not heard. So I think that in all ways, all beings are teachers for each other. Even when there's somebody that we really dislike, they are your teacher, right? So if a horse is always a teacher, is he also going to be one that will want to and be desiring of and good at this particular work? And my answer to that is actually no. I have found that a lot of horses want to step up and do this work. And as the field of the intelligence of what this work grows, more and more horses are stepping up quicker and they know exactly what it is. But there's also horses that love to be show horses. They love the competition. They love to maybe go out on the trail and serve that one person by being a guiding horse. So I think that horses are like humans in that they do have things that they're better at than others, and they do have desires about what they want to do. It's like when Moon, my elder horse, was retired and I had a mare that had a baby, he really wanted to be the caregiver for that baby. That he really took that on as his job. So horses tell you what they want their jobs to be. The thing is, are we willing to listen? And I see this a lot when people come to me and they're like, "Well, I got this Mustang and I really want to ride him and he's having a difficult time with it." And sometimes it's hard for the human to accept that you maybe bought this horse or you got this horse for this purpose, but that's not the purpose that they want to live. That's not their life purpose. That's not what they want to be doing. And so I think it's a huge blessing when we find our soul horses, like Moon is a soul horse for me. We did this work for 23 years. He's 33 now, and thousands of people. And it was a true partnership. And I've had many other amazing, wonderful horses, but as you know, because you've worked with me, he is my soul horse. And so the answer to the question is yes and no. All horses are teachers. Do all horses want to be the teacher in this work? Not necessarily. We have to really pay attention. I think a lot of them do, but not all of them.
Yes. And what I have also noticed among my horses, they step up in different times. So sometimes some of them are ready and the others are not coming or joining, and it can be really different.
Yeah, and I'm so glad that you said that because, that's part of what we talk about in the program. You know, a lot of times I see people that want to use their ego and their own consciousness to say, well, this person needs to learn about boundaries and this horse likes to push boundaries. So I'm going to put them together and they'll have an equine experience. And that's a distinction. I mean, yeah, they'll probably will get an experience, but the distinction here that I want everybody to get is that what Hell is doing, that we've talked about, and I guide all my students to do, is that we ask the horses who wants to step up today. The horses tell us who's ready to work with the client who's coming in or the group that is coming in. And we have a way to do that where we pay attention to what they're communicating. We pay attention to how they're approaching if they're not approaching. And through that, the horse is the leader of the session. And then the pairing goes way beyond the superficial thing that the person has come in for. And the horse that enters into the partnership in this way that Hell is speaking of, that horse brings forward the underlying piece that needs recognition, healing, or unwinding in the system so that the superficial part can change. And that's the beauty of how you're doing it, right?
And pretty often it's difficult to put it into words, actually, because often clients or people, including me, who have experienced that, they are uh, in the best way speechless.
Yeah.
The question, how do they know? Yeah.
Mhm. And what a beautiful place for people to be in, speechless, in awe, in wonder, in like a realization of seeing something in a completely different way, experiencing something in a completely different way. Yeah.
And a big part of your mission has been giving voice to horses, and being an advocate for their intelligence and wisdom. So, what that means to you, and how do you see it shaping maybe even the future of our human relationship with horses?
Yeah. So for me, it was definitely about bringing this body of work into the world. It was what drove me to write the books with the stories, especially Hope from the Heart of Horses and Life Lessons from the Heart of Horses. I I really want to inspire people to see the intelligence that's there. And once we can see the intelligence, then we're open to the voice, which to me is kind of hand in hand. Um, in all of my teachings, that's what I've wanted is to inspire people to see them differently and to be in communion with them and communion in with Mother Nature, because Mother Earth, she doesn't really need us right now, but boy, it'd be really great for a lot of stepping up to happen because there's a lot of destruction that's happening. And I think that partnering people with horses not only opens them to the wonder of the horses, but it also opens them to a connection to something so much bigger than us that is part of us. There is like a remembering that happens when we start to engage with them this way. And then, of course, being an advocate for their voice has also flowed into my inner field class, which, if you've all not experienced that, it's, I think, a pretty interesting class where we do meditation, we work our energy, and then I do animal communication. And sometimes I will channel. And there is a book that I did channel, Horse Spirits Speak. That was from classes I did years ago, which through that, everything that's written in there came from a horse's voice through me. And a same with this particular card deck. This is the horse's voice right here. So there's an intelligence that they're here to offer us, and it's wrapped around our, or entangled, or I'm not sure what the right word is, but it's all about us coming back to the vibration and the patterns of Mother Earth and what she's offering us. And to shift, yeah, we need the human way. Absolutely. But and what if we have the human way, but we also have this earth way, this horse way, this understanding of the power of our own bodies and the voice that's within us, the power of what we feel and what we sense through our body as a guide, just like a horse. How does our world change through that? And to me, when we can start to have enough space in our lives and be with Mother Nature and be with the animals, be with the horses, then we can open up to actually hear the voice that wants to come through. So to me, there's an intelligence there that is different than ours. It's more on the right side of the brain. It's more of a feminine energy. There's a receptivity there, and there's a deep level of intuition through full embodiment, and emotional intelligence. So yeah, not, was that good?
Absolutely. It was brilliant. And actually, we are talking about presence because being with them, it is all about being present and being here and now today in this call. Again, we are present, we are listening to each other and sharing this space. And this is also sort of essence of this work. But pretty often we hear this word presence, and it's like um, it's like some people are using the word mindful and different words, but this, what I have experienced, this word has really deep meaning, a specific depth. So how would you describe this presence with horses? Why it's so special or different?
Well, I think I can maybe weave some of the pieces that I've already mentioned to highlight it a little bit more. When we learn the horse's way, there's a shift from the thinking brain, the beta brain waves, the overthinking brain, the brain that always wants to understand why. We shift into a more spaciousness within our physical body. And again, we shift into more neutrality and a non-resistant state to what's happening in the physical body. And through that process, the physicalness of us actually starts to diffuse.
Mhm.
And through that diffusion, it's like time and space, that reality sort, it starts to shift a little bit where there feels like there's no time and space. And that is a really potent, powerful place to have an experience from. Even people who meditate don't always reach that state because the mind is still engaged. So it's the disengagement of the mind at a level that there's more engagement with the body, sensation, energy, sensory awareness, and that the cognitive thinking has come way down and the brain waves actually start to change. And in that place is where that deep presence is felt. And it can be it can feel like it's like a half an hour, and it's really been 2 minutes. I think I write about this in one of my books with Kairos. This is the first time I really experienced it's almost like a shape-shifting thing that's going on. Um, so, and there's plenty of studies. I've done a lot of meditation and read a lot about the research of the brain and what happens in meditation with the brain. And the lowering of those states of the brain waves is what happens. And we can experience different types of brain waves. And the horses are naturally in a slower, and it doesn't mean it's not as intelligent, but it's a slower patterning in the brain that is a more relaxed state and has access to more information in the environment, maybe, than when, as humans, we're in that really super high beta brain wave, which is problem solving. It's a whole different thing. So again, when we become more horse-like, we're slowing down the brain waves. We're really controlling our bodies, and we're controlling the state, the inner state of our body. Now, this takes practice. It's not going to be something, well, it could happen on the first session, but for many people, it's a practice to not get reactionary to what we're feeling inside. It's a practice to notice what's inside, but stay really present and in a non-resistant state. It's a practice to breathe and focus on sensations to the level in which your brainwaves start to change. And standing next to a horse who's in this present state, when we start to do that, then the horse starts to go deeper too. And again, it's like an amplification of the state of our being. And it can work to bring us into those expansive states of consciousness. Just like it can also work to bring us into those highly reflective moments when we're feeling frustration, and then that horse mirrors the frustration, and all of a sudden the frustration is really growing. It's the same thing. Yeah, they're conduits.
Yeah, and it brings us to the topic of embodiment, because it is all about embodiment. Horses help us to bring all our attention and consciousness into our body level. And when awareness in that level comes, there is often a really powerful moment of realization, or moment of choice for people. The turning point where someone can step into a new way of being. So what do you think? What happens in that moment? And how do horses support people in embodying that new reality in that moment?
Yeah, I think that happens with a really good facilitator, first off, um, or somebody who's been on their path for such a long time that they can understand the energetic patterning that's being revealed in their body and how to fully be with it, and then how to make the shift, which often we actually engage the mind to make the shift. So all of us have these limited beliefs about ourselves. Like you said earlier, I'm not worthy, I'm not lovable, I'm not deserving. And they're buried pretty deep in our system. Everything's pretty much wired by the time we're 7 or 8 years old, actually. That's when we've learned everything about how the world works. And we carry that forward into our human life. And unless we decide to go on a conscious path, we just keep playing it out. But those of us who want to be on a conscious path and understand, why are things happening in my life, or why am I having this experience, then we start to look at these limiting beliefs. Now, the horses, they already know about your limiting beliefs, because your limiting beliefs have an energetic pattern. So when we're carrying the no one listens to me, or nobody respects my space, or I don't have the right to exist, then the horse often will read that and respond to it through coming into the person's space, through walking away, um, all kinds of different behaviors, because again, there's an energetic pattern that the horse is responding to. And the facilitator that understands the work well, and one who has done her work like you have and like Johanna has, then you can start to ask the questions. I'm really big on asking questions versus telling our clients. You can start to ask the questions that help the human being really understand what this deeper pattern is that's emerging in the session. And usually, once that is voiced and it's truly the one, then the horse will change its behavior. It will lick and chew. It will walk over. There will be a significant change, and you'll feel it even energetically in your own body that, okay, now we're starting to change. Now there was the realization of what was, but through more questions and engaging that authentic voice, the voice that's going to replace the old programming, then a new vibration, a new pattern starts to come into the human body, and then the horses respond to that. And this can be a very, the word that's coming up is arduous, because often we're very attached to our limiting beliefs because they define how we understand the world. So if I start to take away my definitions on how the world works, it's really vulnerable. So I can be guarded about that or just be blocking. But here again, it's that presence of the horse and the movement of the horse, the environment that can really help the facilitator work with the client to distill what is old and to invite in the opportunity for new. And this can be life-changing for people.
Yeah, it can. And this is all about, at the same time, it's all about leadership and leading oneself. So how do you see the horse's reflection becoming a teacher for leadership, especially the kind that begins with leading oneself?
Yeah, I think in the beginning, when we're with horses and the horse responds to us in one way or the other, but we're wanting maybe the horse to do this and the horse is doing that. Well, right there's the beginning of your leadership, because you're asking the horse to follow you. You're asking the horse to accept you as the leader, but the horse has got questions. Well, no, I'm not going to do that yet. I got a question about that. Or no, I'm not willing to go there and do that. And so right there, the mirroring or the questioning begins. And typically, once your horse is questioning you, either the horse doesn't feel safe for their own safety, and or the horse is questioning your alignment with that which you have requested of them. Okay, so let's go over the bridge. Well, if I even have an inkling of, oh, here comes the bridge, that horse then gets to that bridge and just, unless it's a horse that's like a dude ranch horse that just goes over the bridge all the time, if he's not that sort of horse, he's going to stop at the bridge, because in your body unconsciously there was a communication. And so we learn about our leadership by understanding what's being held unconsciously in the body that's affecting how that horse wants to partner with us and quote unquote do things with us. And if we're willing to be in the conversation and give the horse a voice, then it requires for us to look at ourselves. It's not about making that horse do something. It's about, wait a minute, how did I ask it? What's going on in me as I'm asking it? What's going on here that's producing this response out of my horse? And to me, that's what leadership is about. It is about taking in oneself as part of the formula. It's taking in the environment, and it's asking questions that brings forth the intelligence for us to understand how to move forward. And on a more so then on a more individual level, every time you're with a horse and you learn a lesson or you get an insight about who you are and what's going on, you're becoming a leader. That's pretty much it. They're
They are,
always teaching us.
they are
Wouldn't you
powerful
say?
teachers.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
And teachers both of leading and embodiment and presence, because the moment you are not present, you're not leading the situation anymore.
Yep. And if you look at a herd of horses, it's the horses that are running around and being reactive, or the ones that are like bullying and pushing others away from their food. They're not the leaders. The leaders are the ones that are conserving energy, that are pretty much monitoring the environment and everybody else, that are so deeply inside of themselves, they have the ability to make a choice. The horses that have the ability to make a choice are the leaders. And you or a horse have that ability to make a choice because you are fully embodied and present with whatever's arising within you, even if it's uncomfortable, it's not taking you over. Versus the horses that are scared, they have let themselves react to something, and then it kind of feeds, and then the rest of the herd starts to go, and that's all a reactionary thing that's going on. There's a lack of leadership there, but the leader of that herd won't react in the same way.
Mm, beautiful. I think today we got a lot of things to reflect upon, and definitely many insights about the essence of coaching with horses in
Yeah, I think
daily.
so. And I'd really like to share with everybody. We talked at the beginning about the purpose of the call is to introduce you, to introduce, which really you've spent most of the time talking or asking me questions. So before I share with everybody what you're up to, what is your biggest kind of drive or desire with horses? What is it that you want for the horses, and what do you want for others that come to work with you to experience with the horses?
Mhm. I could answer mm, or give a really long answer here, but the very first thing that comes is I really belong there. I feel a true connection, not only with them, but with myself. And they are empowering. So, in all that, the communication is mutually empowering. And it's so much further or so much larger than just me, my name, my story. This goes beyond that. So, what I really enjoy with them is this sacred space they help to create. And this is only the beginning of the journey with them. But this is my personal journey. And of course, I can share it with the clients, but only with them who are on the path.
Yeah, beautiful, beautiful. Yeah. And you have a very, very special location. And I'm really super thrilled that you're going to be offering this level one in Europe, which is the very first time that I've had a student offer. I'm not a student, you're a graduate. You've helped me with programs, you're way beyond student level. Um, and for those of you who don't know me, it takes quite a bit for me to trust other people to kind of step into teaching the material. So both Hella, who we're speaking with now, and Johanna are going to do that. And you have a very, very special place, and you're offering something super special. Um, so I'm going to tell people what the structure of that is, and I'd like to kind of have you share maybe your desire within that. So during COVID, the level one teaching went online. So I have everything actually level one, level two, and level three online because these gals kept saying, how about the next level? How about the next level? So I just kept doing it. So it's online. So what's really cool about what's going to happen is that if anybody's on the call is interested and you decide to work with Hella, you're going to have 10 weeks of the level one modules that I'm teaching. It's all pre-recorded and everything, and it's all in a membership area, and you can have access of that with that. And then you get to meet every week with Hella, and she's going to answer the questions that you have about what's happening with your horses, what's happening for you as you're learning how to be more present, how you're learning how to drop into this work, what's happening for you as you bring in your practice clients. And she's going to take you through the program, and then she's also going to have you meet with her on her lovely property. And how many days is that, Hella?
For the beginning too, but I'm up for further go.
Yeah. So you'll start with 2 days with her, and then you get to receive the work under her guidance and under her horses that have been doing it for a long time, which I think is going to be super, super supportive for you. So, Hella, what is it that you most want for those who might be interested to know about what you're providing and how you're feeling about it?
Um, Most about, I would say that if there is inner calling, then you should follow that. And it's all about that work. This is about finding yourself and what's happening inside you with all the resistance and allowing to things to come into surface. And I wish people to experience that.
Yeah. And then as they are experiencing that, just so you all understand, you're actually going to learn how to facilitate other people. So my program's always designed that you are doing your own work and then you're also working with others. Um, because I don't believe people can really facilitate other people well until they start to do their own work. And it's a journey. You don't get all your work done because you never get it done, right? But you do your work as you're working with other people. And that's why Johanna and Hella are two people that I have selected to guide others because I know that they've been doing their own work and they know how to guide you. So, yeah. Hella, is there anything that you want to say before we pop Johanna on real quick?
Mm, I'm really happy about all this that we shared, and whatever is still bubbling for some people, they feel free to connect. And I'm really happy to answer all the questions related to the level 1 in Estonia.
Yeah, yeah. So everybody hear that. Hella's available for you to reach out to, email. Maybe she'll have a call with you if you're curious about this program. You think it could be, um, a lot of people do it just for themselves. You will work with other people, but a lot of people do it just to raise their consciousness and understand how to be with horses in this different way. And it will change your relationship with your horse. I've not seen it not change. That's a double negative, but it always changes for people with their horses, always. And it's different for everybody, but it changes. So why don't you go ahead and, or Johanna, can you pop on to the screen? So Hella kind of got creative and said, okay, well, let's do this call. And I said, great. And then Johanna's pretty busy right now because she's got the Clydesdales showing up on her property in a couple of weeks. They're doing the Budweiser Clydesdales are coming to her mare sanctuary to do a big event there. So um, we wanted to get her in, even though she's super busy getting that all organized. So Johanna, is there anything that you'd like to express? We're going to do the level 1 with you that's in Wisconsin. So if there is anybody in the US on the call, there'll be a Wisconsin program also. So what might you like to express or add?
um, just how transformative this work is and how it transforms how first and foremost, how we relate to ourselves, how we relate to the horses, but then learning the horse way. I was just thinking about how it transforms how I relate to everything. Like the land that I walk on, the trees that I walk among, how I relate to my children, how I relate and show up for my other animals, my dogs and cats. It's such a the energy of the horse, it is a universal language. And so this work is very, very transformative and very powerful. And I'm so honored to be a part of sharing it and helping disseminate it so that others can learn the language for themselves and so that we can just build a better world at a more global level. Yeah.
Beautiful, thank you. And Johanna has a very beautiful sanctuary for brood mares, which is a very powerful, powerful thing that she's doing. Heartbreaking, heartwarming, heart opening. There's just all the cycles there, right?
Yeah.
Yep. And there's a lot of discarding of our animals right now. So sanctuaries are really, really important gift. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's where I really offer people to come into sanctuary to do this work in sanctuary, a safe place to feel all the things and work through all the things and hit the hard places and go over them, go around them, whatever they need to do with the horses who are also in sanctuary. So that's a cool thing.
Yeah, beautiful. I'm so excited. I have tears in my eyes because I can't imagine two better people for y'all to tap into or connect with and to create your own experience in this world of equine learning and sacredness with horse, communion with horse and Mother Earth. These two are your gals. So, Hella, is there anything else that you might like to say before we close today? I know we said, oh, 40 minutes, but I knew we'd go for at least an hour.
Yeah, I'm just glad that all these people joined, and I know that many people are waiting for the replay link. So I'm happy and happy to share this what I have gained through these training years. And I wouldn't say training years; it's a journey.
Yeah.
And as you said, it for me it's far more than just training. It's like spiritual journey at the same
It's
time.
almost a shamanic initiation in many ways. Yeah. I mean, it's not shamanism, but it's kind of equine shamanism, right?
Yeah, and what I also want to add that my horses and definitely all the other horses who have future facilitators there, they will gain so much from our broader perspective or the way how we communicate with them now. It is different and they speak loudly and it's wonderful. So, so I would say that this is really powerful work.
Thank you. Good. Okay, so probably the last thing are some details. Reach out to Hella, and if you want to reach out to Johanna, you'll probably just have to email me. You can do that through the website. These programs actually start mid-September, so it kind of all just happened. I don't even know how this happened, you guys. It just happened. It happened and it's rolling and flowing, and I'm just trusting that all of you are gonna step into it and really be with horse in a completely different way and yeah, and change your lives, open up your authenticity, be in communion with horse, Mother Earth, and have the experience of remembering who you are and what you're here to do and to be. Yeah. So I think that's it, right, ladies?
Yeah, thank you for everybody. Thank you, Kathy, and thank you, Johanna.
Yeah.
So it's gonna be interesting September for many of us.
Yeah, very good. Thank you, Hella, for putting together the call. A lot of work. Thanks, everybody who's been here. And I really hope to hear about your experiences as you step into the work. So, all right.
Yeah.
Thanks, Johanna. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.